Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from the Fairgrounds Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 14th of February, 2026. Gonna let the stakes action from the fairgrounds, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on X at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the stakes action races 3 and then 8, 9, 10, 11, and the feature 12th race, which is the Risen Star. So, quite a few races to look at. Let's start with the third race, heading to the Stall Wilson Turf Course with the Colonel Power Stakes. It's going for a $100,000 purse, race for 4-year-olds and upwards here. We have a field of 8 horses going 1,100 meters or 5.5 furlongs on the Stall Wilson Turf Course. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the 4-horse Demolition Duke. I'm going to go 4-3-2-5 in the superfecta. 4-3-2-5 super. Top selection 4 is Demolition Duke. The 6-year-old horse by Good Magic. Brendan Walsh trains. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. Ran the horse most recently, 21st January Turfway. 6 furlongs, an option 40 claimer, and he finished third by 1 3/4 lengths that day. He sat back early, had a bit of a, inside trip early on where he wasn't really comfortable. When he got a little wide late, he really was gaining ground. I didn't think it was a half bad race. I think cutting back to 5.5 furlongs coming to this turf course for the first time in quite a few minutes since last year's Colonel Power. He'll see strong pace to close up into. I think he's sitting on that very good run to win here today. Two back in the allowance race for 100,000 at Turfway, 6.5 furlongs, 20th of December. Finished fourth by length that day. It was his first start since last year's Colonel Power Stakes in February, so he's coming off the 10-month bench. He needed the race, finishing fourth by length. He was just a little bit flat that day. And last year's Colonel Power of the 5.5 on this turf course finished third by length, and he just missed late. He was gaining a lot of ground. The pace kind of melted down late, but he ran his heart out. And then the Kenner Stakes here over the 5.5 on the dirt on the slop actually last January of 25 finished third by 6 3/4 lengths. He was well beaten that day. I just don't think he's a dirt horse. His turf sprinting numbers have been very well. He actually most recent win came in a allowance race in the fall of 24 at Churchill, going 5.5, winning by 2 1/4 lengths, closing it from the back of the pack. I thought that was a very, very good race. Even after some traffic trouble in the lane, he still won quite nicely. Refreshing here, I think he can win. I think the 3-horse Moondog or Mondog gets buckets for Chris Block and Tyler Gaffleon can win also. He placed in the Kenner Stakes a few weeks ago with the 5.5, where he just missed a little bit late. It was a little bit wide, but he got down the race course well. Prior to that non-conditional allowance race over the 5.5 locally, finished fourth by 4 3/4 lengths. First start on turf in a little bit of time, because it was his, first start on turf. And, he was a little bit wide, but he was gaining that day. It was better than his dirt effort prior to that, which was the Thanksgiving Classic, where he just ran horribly. Off two different decent turf races, drawn well here today, getting Gaffleon up at 6-1. I'll use him on the ticket. But to recount my selection for the third from the fairgrounds, it's the Colonel Power. Going to take the 4-horse Demolition Duke. Give kudos to the 3-horse Mondog gets buckets. 4-3-2-5 super, 4-3 in the multi-race. Heading over to race number 8 now from the fairgrounds, which is the Albert M. Stall Memorial. It's going for a $100,000 purse. Races for Phillies Mayors, 4-year-olds and upwards. 9 horses are going 1,700 meters or mile 16th on the turf course. Gonna take the number 3-horse Sweet Treasure as a top selection. 3-1-2-4 for me in the superfecta. 3-1-2-4 super. Top selection 3-horse Sweet Treasure. 4-year-old followed by Twirling Candy. Brad Cox trains. Laurent Giroux gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently in the Mary Krantz Memorial, mile 16th here at the fairground, 17th of January. And the horse finished 6 by 6 1/4 lengths that day. And just had a bit of a weird trip. He didn't get out of the gate so clearly, which just wasn't comfortable. Maybe first on this turf course, maybe she needed the experience. I think coming to this race a little bit better training wise, I think she could, improve off that run. That was just a very weird race. She just never was really getting into it. She ran two back in the Pebbles here in New York at Aqueduct, mile 16th on the outer turf course, 23rd November. She ran her heart out. She finished third by 2 lengths. She was with them early on. She got overtaken late, but she didn't go down without a fight. She showed potential that day. And then first time olders at Churchill, a mile and an allowance race back in on Halloween, winning by 2 lengths from a tracking trip. She won quite easily. Her races prior to that Churchill weren't bad at all. Off the bench, she had a decent fifth place finish where she just couldn't get there late, but she showed potential. And then she won a very nice allowance race as a Churchill in the fall of 24 at Churchill, winning by 3 1/4 lengths. So the fronting seeing some good numbers home. I thought that was a very good effort. Coming here, I'm going to put it next to that last race. I'm going to take her here today. I think the 1-horse Maduro for Jose Ortiz, Quinn also, and Peter Erden ran the Americans Memorial and won by a 3/4 length that day, coming from mid pack. I thought that was a very, very good strong run for that for that horse that day. She was getting serious class lately from her previous races in Southern California. And the matriarch prior to that, she finished 6 by 3 3/4 lengths, getting beat by some very decent horses on the day. She ran in a very tough Gold to COVID British Cup weekend at Del Mar also, where she finished third by 1.5 lengths. And then the John Maccabee finishing second by 1/4 lengths. I thought she ran her heart out that day. Another horse cutting back to mile 16th. That's her trip through and through. 9 to 5. I know she's going to get very overbet, but she's also a very likely winner. And another horse that's going to get overbet is the 2 horse oversubscribed for Tyler Gaffney on Chad Brown. One off the year bench in the Forever Together at Aqueduct last time out in late November at Aqueduct. Prior to that, you have very good place in the Pebbles at Aqueduct before that. Her form as a 3-year-old last year, or 2 years ago now, wasn't bad at all. She actually won the Wild Applause at Aqueduct, came back to run a very good place behind Pounce in the Lake George, and then she ran horribly in the QE2 Cup at Keeneland. But refreshing here, second off the bench. It wouldn't surprise me if it gets a piece of it. Pick 5 begins here. Let's use her there. $1 million estimated. Pick 5, they say. But to recap my selection for the 8th in the fairgrounds, the Albert M. Stahl Memorial. Going to take the 3-horse Sweet Treasure. Give kudos to the 1-horse Mandura and the 2-horse oversubscribed. 3-1-2-4 Super. 3-1-2 in the multi-race. The 9th event from the fairgrounds, it is the Mineshaft Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a purse of $250,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. 7 horses are going 1,700 meters or mile 16th on the main track. Gonna take the 5-horse here, Time to Win. I'm gonna go 5-2-6-7 in the superfecta. 5-2-6-7 super. Top selection 5-horse, Time to Win. 4-year-old Ridgeling by Not This Time. Chad Brown trains. Tyler Gaffleone gets the mount. Ran the horse most recently, 17th of January at Gulfstream, 1 turn mile and option 25 claimer, and the horse went by a neck that day. And he came from the back of the pack. He had pace to close up into, and he drove home clear. That was a good race. Next question with him will be, can he go around 2 turns? He's coming around 2 turns for the first time. On debut, actually ran over the Wilson Mile, so 1.5 turns. He's going to be making a full second turn today. But his last races haven't been half bad. He's bred for this trip through and through. I think you could see him running well at late in this race. 2 back on the 4th December at Aqueduct, a mile in the main special weight. He won by 5.5 lengths that day. He stalked all around the race course, a little bit wide, but he flew home clear. A very good race. It only took him 4 times to break the main, but he finally did that day. And then at Aqueduct, 1 mile in the main special weight in early November. He finished third by 5 3/4 lengths. Life and Times really ran terrifically. Was a next start winner. This horse didn't get out of the gate so clearly, and that really hampered his chances. On debut, like I said, he ran on the Wilson Mile at Saratoga in a main special weight where he finished third by 2 3/4 lengths that day. And he dream tracking trip. He had the lead in the lane, but then he just never concentrated to the run. He yielded out of it. I think he needed the blinkers that day. He didn't get it. He didn't get it to start afterwards. He got it actually on the 3 after that on the 1st November, where he just ran okay. But they really conquered him after that at Aqueduct and at Gulfstream. Refreshing here around 2 turns. I'm going to give him a shot. I think the 2-horse Accelerize for Johnny V and Todd Cohen also was a winner on the front end in the Louisiana Stakes locally. Went by neck last time out. He really lied to the front end and got the job done. Very, very good gritty performance. Ran at Gulfstream prior to the 1 turn mile and option 25, where he won by 2 lengths again from a tracking trip. He came quite home clearly, and then he had a decent place off the bench at Gulfstream. Another horse, very lightly raced, but he's been doing everything right. He's drawn well 4-1. It wouldn't surprise me. Let's use him on the ticket. But to recap my selection for the 9th from the fairgrounds, it's the Mineshaft. Going to take the 5-horse, Time to Win. Give kudos to the 2-horse Accelerize. 5-2-6-7 Super. 5-2 in the multi-race. Let's head back to the turf course with the 10th event. 10th race from the fairgrounds. It is the Fairground Stakes. It's a grade 3 event going for a $175,000 purse. Race for 4-year-olds and upwards here. We have a field of 10 horses going 1,800 meters, or a mile 1/8 on the Stahl Wilson turf course. Gonna take the number 9 horse here, Leg Notes, as a top selection. I'm gonna go 9-2-6-5 in the superfecta. 9-2-6-5 super. Top selection 9 horse Leg Notes. This 5-year-old horse by Cantharos here. Steve Aspson trains. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. They ran the horse most recently, 17th of January, here at the fairgrounds, mile 16th in the Colonel Proudly. And the horse finished second by 1/4 lengths that day. He stalked, he had the lead, and then Kuna just really came home clear from the clouds to catch this horse. It looked like he was going to win, but Capuna just came from nowhere. I thought this horse ran terrifically. He just needs to not get caught by Capuna today. If he doesn't get caught by Capuna, he's gonna win. It's as simple as said and done. He ran two back in the River City at the Church of Monmouth on the 8th of November, and he finished third by 4 1/4 lengths that day. And he sat back early. He moved a little bit late. I thought he still needs something more, but I've seen worse race from him. And then prior to that, in the Mint Million at Kentucky Downs over the mile, finished second by 2 lengths that day. He was very wide, but he was excelling that day. I thought he saw pace to close up into it. I think he liked the quirkiness of the course. That was a very good effort, especially being off the week turnaround. He ran a week prior in the Tappan Stakes over the mile 70 at Kentucky Downs, where he won by 5 1/4 lengths from wide trip. He stalked, he got the lead, he flew home clear. He was a workhorse between early August and early September. He actually ran in the 4 star day prior to that in early August at Saratoga, where he finished 7 by 4 lengths. He had a wide trip. He drove to the front end early on, but then he placed out of it. It wasn't his day to win at 50 to 1. But then, look at his races last year. Came back to place in the opening verse at Churchill Derby Day, where he nearly won. He just got caught the wire. Came back to run a massive third in the Wise Dan and a massive third in the Arlington Stakes prior to that. He's back to this turf course again off some decent runs. At 7 to 2, I think he's sitting on a good run. I think the Brilliant Birdie for Brian Hernandez going also. Was a winner three back in the Wise Dan at Churchill, beating home Lagnos that day. This horse came from tracking position to get the job done. Came back to run the Mint Million after that, where he got a little bit too much ground to gain. He finished fourth that day, and then the Turf Mile Keeneland over the mile on opening weekend in the fall, finishing third by a length that day against some very tough competition. I thought he was gaining some ground. He's back to this turf course again. He ran here last year in the Muniz Memorial, where he just kind of stunk up the place. He had a lot of ground to gain. I'd like to see him a little bit more into it, like he was in the Wise Dan or the Arlington Stakes. He absolutely loves that Churchill turf course. So I think the probably the forward league goal for him will be to run in a few weeks, in a few months' time in the something like the Turf Classic or something like that, Derby weekend, or even the opening verse if he's open for that kind of race. But refreshing here 4 to 1. I think you get a piece of it. Let's use him on the ticket. But to recount my selection for the 10th from the Fairgrounds, it is the Fairground Stakes. Going to take the 9 horse Lagnos, give kudos to the 2 horse Brilliant Birdie, 9265 Super, 9-2 in the multi race. The co-featured 11th race in the Fairgrounds, it's the Rachel Alexandra Stakes. It's a grade 2 event, going for a $300,000 purse, race for 3-year-old fillies. 8 horses are going 1,700 meters or mile 16th on the main track. Gonna take the 6 horse Love Your Neighbor as a top selection. 6315 for me in the superfecta. 6315 super. Top selection 6 horse Love Your Neighbor. This 3-year-old filly by Constitution. Michael Stim trains one. Luis Saez gets the mount. They ran the horse a month ago in the Silver Bullet Day, a mile 70 locally here at the Fairgrounds, where he finished second by a neck. And again, he stalked down the race course. He gamed it to the wire, just couldn't get there late, but she ran her heart out. She's gonna win one of these days locally, and she's gonna win quite easily one of these days also. Refreshing here, if she can keep the forward momentum, I think she could get the job done. Two back in the Untapped Bowl over the mile 70 on the 20th of December. She finished second by a head, and she stalked the pace that day after a horrible beginning. Axel Concepcion lost the iron going into the coming out in the early portion of the race, and but after that recovered well, gamed it to the wire, just missed late, but she ran her heart out. And then the Options 25 here over the 6th on the slot 4th of December, finishing second by half a length again. Just didn't want to go in front. They are putting blinkers on her today, so maybe that will concentrate her so she can get to the front end. If she concentrates, she's going to win by a mile. She looks like she has a lot left in tank, but then she looks like she gets a little bit of ADHD in the lane and just doesn't concentrate. Refreshing here, training well. I'm going to give her a shot on the ticket. If she doesn't win here today, she's an Ontario bred. She could go win the King's Plate later this summer, but we'll use her here. I think the 3 was Bella Ballerina for Tyler the Gaffleone and Brendan Walsh and Godolphin going also. Won the Golden Rod quite nice in the front end of Churchill from a wide trip back in late November, winning by a half length. She won quite easily. Prior to that, in early October over the 6th in the main specialway Keeneland, she won by 4 1/4 lengths and basically circled the field. A very good race. She's refreshing here. She's trading well. She's done everything right. 2 to 1. Watch out for her late. But to recount my selection for the 11th from the Fairgrounds, it's still Rachel Alexandra. Gonna take the 6 horse love your neighbor. Give kudos to the 3 horse Bella Ballerina, 6315 Super, 6-3 in the multi race. The featured 12th race, the nightcap on the program for the fairgrounds, it is the Risen Star Stakes. It's a grade 2 event going for a $500,000 purse race for 3-year-olds here. 8 horses going 1,800 meters or a mile and eighth on the main track. I think the 4 is Paladin as a top selection. 4753 in the superfecta. 4753 super. Top selection of 4 horse Paladin. This 3-year-old colt by Gunrunner. Chad Brown trains one for Coolmore. Tyler Gaffleon gets them out. Kind of a la Sierra Leone here. And he runs like Sierra Leone, but not coming from as far back. Ran most recently in the Remsen at Aqueduct, mile 8th, 6th of December, and he won by 2 lengths. He had a dream track and trip. He had a little bumpiness out of the gate, but it wasn't anything bad. But he stopped, he got the lead, and then he came home clear, beating home his, arch rival Renegade, who was a next start winner quite nicely. So he's going to try to, be a next start winner also. But this horse, he won impressively. He's a horse. He's gonna like as the distances get longer. He skipped those mile 16th prep races or mile prep races. He wants a mile and eighth. He's coming here today. He's coming to this race quite nicely. I think he can improve off that race. He ran 2 back at Aqueduct in the main special weight, 17th of October, over the 1 turn mile. Finished second by a head. He stalked. He had the lead. He bumped with Renegade and bumped back with Renegade. He finished second by the head bob. With a small margin, he looked like he was going to win in the lane. They placed him up first, knocked down Renegade to second. Thought it was the right call. Renegade came back to win after that, or place after that, and then win next after that. But this horse and that horse, 2 decent horses on the Derby Trail. Since the Remsen, he's training up pacing quite nicely. Half mile drill 4.93 and a half mile 4.94. Refreshed here, like I said, mile and eighth horse through and through. It wouldn't surprise me if he wins in a trot. I think the 7 horse courting for Todd and John Velasquez could win also. Getting blinkers on. He's coming out of that Remsen Stakes over the mile and eighth at Aqueduct in December, where he finished 4th by 7 lengths that day. Again, not the best beginnings. A little lackadaisical early on, and he moved a little bit late, but he still needs something more. He is getting blinkers on today, so that should really concentrate him to get to the task here today. If that concentrates him, he's another horse. Watch out for him late because he's ready for this trip through and through. Kind of a mile and a half horse. Wish that Belmont was at Belmont this year at a mile and a half. It looks like the kind of horse that could be doing wonders at it. But this horse, refreshing here, I think he can improve. 2 back in the main special weight at Aqueduct early November. Went by 2 1/4 lengths that day. He sat on the front end. He was a little bit wide, but he finally concentrated to the run. For the amount of money they've spent for him to win that day, it was good that they got some money back from him. And then on debut at Aqueduct, a 1 turn mile in the main speedway, even though he's a very expensive couple $1 million horse, he didn't go off as a favorite. He was at just over 3-1 that day. And he finished 4th by 2 1/4 lengths, and he needed the race that day. Igniter really ran terrifically as a decent horse. Rebel's Instinct was a next start winner as a decent horse also. This horse just needed the race for the experience, but he really improved after that. I thought in the Remsen, he just was a little, Atlantic kind of horse, kind of like the previous race with Love Your Neighbor, who just couldn't get going. But I'm hoping with him if the blinkers will concentrate him. If it does, he could be running well at the end. Trading well Palm Beach, 6-1. We'll use him to end off the multi-race wagers. But to recap my selection for the 12th in the fairgrounds now, it is the Risen Star. Gonna take the 4-horse Paladin. Give kudos to 7-horse Courting, 4753 Super, 47 at the multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on X at Horse Racing Kid 5. Good luck, everybody.